Good morning, viewers. Make sure I'm on, because I think I'm on, but sometimes I'm not on. Turn the ringer down. I already got kicked off of Facebook once this morning, so let's see if I can find myself. Okay, there I am. Pinned to the top. So I pinned it to the top. Hey, Bobby, nice to see you. Hi, Danette, Kathy, good morning, Donna. Nice to see you all. Haven't seen you in a while, Bobby. Are you still going live? I miss you if so. Okay, there we go. I have my comments. Hi, Donna and Karen. Debbie, Stacy, good morning, everyone. Let me slide these. I'm going to leave them there just for a minute since I'm looking. Hi, I see Suzanne. It's always like romper room. I just love this. Snowy, Wisconsin. How awesome is that? That's so fun. Hi, Tina. And I don't know who the person is that has like the little swirly background with the flowers, but that's so cute. Good morning, Kelly. Thanks. Hi, Melanie. So I hope everyone had a good week so far. And sorry, I'm just looking at the comments. It should be on the same side with the camera. That would make more sense for me. So today, I'm really not sure what I'm going to make. I was thinking of some ideas, and I've really kind of had like a little bit of a block. But I do have next Monday coming up. I am taking part in Kylie Bertucci's International Blog Hop. You're getting a magic mirror. We should. That would be so fun. Oh, Lord, I used to love that show. I know one time she saw me. Well, at least I thought she saw me. But anyway, so we're dating ourselves here. So I am going to be part of Kylie Bertucci's International Blog Hop, which is next Monday. So it's a lot of people. I think there's like 50, at least. It's international all over the world. It's a weird time. It happens at like 5 p.m. or something here in the United States. So keep an eye on the blog. If not, I will definitely share it. So, hi, Anne from Gloucester. Nice to have you. Thank you. So I was kind of trying to figure out what I wanted to do, and I opened my box of stamping stuff that I got because I did an order. Who didn't love Romper Room? And I got a couple stamp sets. These are the ones that were on sale, so I just got my order. So I got All Wired Up, which I thought maybe that would be fun to use. I also got this for all of my son's unicorn fans at school. So, so unicorns, but we won't do that today. And then another thing I got was the host set for Greatest Part of Christmas. Got a lot of really nice Christmas greetings in there. So we'll have to see. You know, Suzanne, your name was never mentioned, but I got to tell you, my name was never spelled right because my parents spell my name A-E-L, and everybody in the world almost has E-L. So I never had anything that had my name on it spelled. People would always buy me stuff, and I'm like, but this isn't how I spell my name. Why do I even want this? Yeah, so actually, Tina, since you mentioned this, this was one of the ones that was on sale, and I really, really wanted it. But since it was on sale, I bought it. And I also got this one, too, the Very Versailles. I don't know if it was Kylie Bertucci or Bruno made a really simple card with this. So this is another one I got as well. So, and then I was pulling out my cardstock because I got a lot of cardstock because I was like running out of a bunch of them. And I thought this would make a really pretty color combination. So this is So Saffron, I believe it's Night of Navy, and Coastal Cabana. Big surprise, look. It almost matches the wall back there. See, I can block out the wall. Almost. So anyway, I thought this would be a cool color combination. So I don't really know if everybody's like totally okay with not doing a Christmassy thing. We could make a card with some like other stuff maybe. So we could do like, we could bring this in with the Very Versailles and make just like a thinking of you card. I think would be really pretty. Maybe somehow I could bring in the All Wired Up. I'm not really sure. And this one I'm going to have to make some cards with because I And I'm going to tell you, I'm going to show it to you because now that since I'm facing no mint, Donna, but I did reorder a pack of mint. I'm going to send it to you. But I'm going to show you, since I have everything kind of set up over here, this was one of the first things my dad ever bought me. And this is my little unicorn. And it's purple, which was my favorite color. But this is my unicorn. And I have this. It's 1985. Just goes to show you how much I really loved unicorns. So this was totally, it's a little dusty. I probably should have dusted it off first. But all right, so I see, let's pass on Christmas. So we're going to make an everyday card. I have so many knickknacks over here. I could do like a tour of knickknacks. It would take like 3 days. But anyway, so what I'm going to do is you have made tons with unicorn. Tina, I'm going to have to check your stuff out because I love unicorns. So I know you love me. I know you do. You're one of my closest friends that I've never met. Isn't that the greatest part about stamping? I love being able to stamp with you guys, and especially with the face-to-face. I hope that's helping, like we're actually chatting now. So I'm going to flip you down to the counter. Not too much stuff going on. The trimmer, oh, that's so cool. The trimmer is available to customers now. So I will tell you one other thing. I think I mentioned this the other day on YouTube, but I got out my old trimmer to cut some glimmer paper. And man, I tell you what, this one cuts so much. It's like, I know people will say like, it's so wonderful. And you're like, yeah, right. But it really cuts so much nicer than the old trimmer. And, oh, thanks, Cindy. Nice to see you for the first time. So, yes, you do have a unicorn. You don't like unicorn. That's okay. There's something for everybody here, right? We're not making unicorns today anyway. But this is a really nice trimmer. And I did keep my old trimmer because I trimmed glimmer paper in it. So just a tip, if you have gotten a new trimmer or you haven't, and if you're using a brand new trimmer, even if it's not this one, keep your old one and use it to cut glimmer paper. But when you cut it, turn it upside down. So I'm just going to pull a piece out just to show you. I'm not going to cut it, but if you have glimmer paper, it is really, really rough on trimmer blades, no matter what blade. So you have your glitter side and then you have a flat side. So if you're going to cut your paper, what you want to do is you always want to put it so the glimmer is facing down, and it's much easier on your blade if you're cutting through this part versus, I know you're still going to cut through this, so it might not make sense, but it's much easier on the blade if you cut with the shiny side up. So just as an FYI, little tip there. And look, I had to save this piece because I'm probably going to use this little square here and here and here, and I'm a paper hoarder. And one day I'll open up that, since you can see it now, and I'll show you all the DSP I have in there. You will not believe it. You probably either fall over or else you'll be like, oh, that's nothing. I have way more than that. Okay, so anyway, I'm going to flip you guys. So if you get a little sick, just look away for a minute. I'm going to try to cover up the camera. Let me flip you to the box there for a second. You can look at the rainbow stamper there for a minute. My little pictures of my little rainbow stamper. Okay. Oops. All right, here we go. Ready? And we're in. Okay. Alrighty, so we're gonna make something with this color combination today. Now I do have this paper, but I was almost out of a lot of it, so that's why I whatever you have much more. 22 years of hoarding it. Well, I've hoarded it for about 15 years, so I can't be too far behind you, Gail. I can't imagine having to pack all that up, though, because Gail is relocating from New York to Florida. So hopefully she's going to be packing all of her doodads so we can watch her make some wonderful creations. So I'm going to go ahead and grab my... oh gosh, if I can get it out of here. There's so much. My So Saffron. I usually like to try to keep an extra pack. If I don't have an extra pack, that's when I order a new one. So if you're kind of a person that's maybe trying to run this as a business, but you're not super duper in sales like all the people they announced yesterday that were the Global 100, which I did tell Christian this morning. I said, one day my name's going to be on that list. I don't know how far I'm going to be up there, but I usually go the route of I'd like to have an extra pack at least. So I do a lot of classes and I hate to run out of cardstock. So when I get to the fact of I don't have one, then I'll get another one for that. So I'm getting these 3 out so I have them. And pop these in here. And then we will make our card. So I'm going to try to make at least 2 cards. We'll see how that goes, but that's what I'm going to shoot for. Let me get my... I did not mail the tipsies out yet, but I got everyone's response. I just want to let everybody know in case you're watching. I did get everybody's email with their address, so thank you very much for everyone who responded and sent it. This is going to be my scrap stamping page, and what I'm going to do is I think I'm going to go with just kind of the way it is. So I'm going to put like the base is going to be navy, and then I'm going to have like an accent of Coastal Cabana and an accent of So Saffron. So I'm just going to pull out, that way I should have at least enough to make 2, and then I'll put these on the side. And let's see, we have this. I think that's it. We'll go with that for now, because we can always add some more stuff if we need to. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my trimmer and I'm going to cut this one full sheet. So this is a full 8.5 by 11. I'm going to score it and cut it. That way we have 2 card bases. So we'll just do this vertically. I'm scoring at 4 1/4, and then I'm going to cut it at 5 1/2. So what we'll do them opposite. So for one, I'll have Coastal Cabana and then yellow, and then for the other, I'll do the opposite. So I'm going to just trim this one down to 4. Oops, that's not right. Sorry. 5 1/4 by 4. And move this one. This one, I'll do the opposite. So this is going to be 4 by 5 1/4. I have been doing a lot of 3D stuff lately with boxes and whatnot, but I kind of think that when you have this time of year when you might give somebody a gift, it kind of works out well to be able to have like a little bit of a packaging kind of all ready to go. All right, so for one of these, I'm going to do the chicken wire, and then for the other one, I'm going to do probably the words and then maybe the leaves. So we'll see how this goes. Honestly, I have absolutely no idea what I'm going to do, which is not unusual. I'm just going to pull this off. And I typically just put my background stamps just in there. So, and then I'll just ink it up in here. So you could put this on the back if you're going to mount it, but honestly, I don't usually mount my my background stamp, so you could use this really as a whole sticky sheet if you wanted to go back and retro mount some of your stamps. So I'm just going to pop that up there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do this one with the Coastal Cabana. If you wanted it to be a little bit darker, so I'm going to just do tone on tone. If you wanted it to be a little darker, you could always go with Bermuda Bay, inking this with Bermuda Bay. So I'm just going to put this direct onto my stamp here with my pad. Ooh, it's a little piece of plastic. All right, and then I'm going to put this down, and then here's where my scrap paper comes in. So I'm just going to mush this on here. Oh my gosh, I'm trying to catch back to the comments. I'm so far behind. Oh, Teresa, I have relatives. I have lots of relatives that live in Little Rock. Arkansas is a beautiful state. So there's that. It could be straight if you wanted to, just kind of depends. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do something I haven't done in a while. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take, and this one I got a little double there because I probably wasn't paying attention, but that's okay. I'm going to take my bone folder and I'm going to just rough up the edge. All the way around, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab either a sponge or a dauber, and I'm just going to sponge the edge. And then what I'll probably do is bring in a piece of the So Saffron and maybe stamp on it and then add a sentiment. So we'll see. So this kind of be like a little bit of a layer card. But the colors of these look really pretty. And then we'll obviously have some, I'm going to go with white instead of vanilla. Vanilla isn't my favorite. I only typically use vanilla if I have a DSP that already has vanilla in it. Then I will use vanilla. But otherwise, I don't know, sometimes vanilla to me, it just is not my favorite color. So I kind of have these, as I've showed you before. You can reuse these over and over again, even though they're stained, as long as they're clean. I will say, though, every once in a while, you'll notice that your sponges, if they start shedding, for me, that's kind of the point where I'll get rid of them, because I think they start making more of a mess than they're worth, quite honestly. So just as a FYI, I usually just keep mine, rinse them out. I also have some sponges here that I haven't washed from the last time I used them. So more color comes out if you wash them right away, but no biggie. I think we had, must have been the year before last, we actually had some DSP that I'm sure I still have some of. That was maybe the tea time, that had a really pretty combination of So Saffron and Coastal Cabana in it. And I made a bunch of cards with that, which was really nice. And my thank you cards, which I did not send out yet for November. I'll be doing that very shortly. There was only a few people that ordered in November, but I will be sending those out. I think I'm going to send out the Brightly Gleaming. And I'll just kind of just do a little bit of kind of color all over on this, just to see what does or doesn't show up, because I'm not sure, again, what we're going to do just yet. So there's that for now. I'll keep that just in case. So I'll end up putting that onto our card, and then we're going to do some sort of a So Saffron accent. So what I'm going to do is, I think I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to grab my trimmer again, and I'm going to cut a piece that's going to be, I'm going to have it go across. So I'm going to do it, if that is 4 across, I'm going to do a 2-inch, it should be 4. I'm going to do a 2-inch piece. Now I'm going to do 1 3/4. 1 3/4 inch piece by 4. And let's see what this works out to be. When I wing things, it's funny because winging is my thing. I'm not very good at pre-planning things when I'm doing stuff like this. Now, when I do a class, I do like to pre-plan, but somehow I always manage to forget something. You can ask anybody that has attended stamp class with me. It's inevitable. I always forget something. Never, ever fails. So I'm going to do So Saffron, but mine, I don't use this as often, so I'm just going to take a second, just add a little bit of re-inker, just so I make sure I get a slightly darker image. As you can see, this is a felt pad, or linen pad, I should say. Not felt, it's a linen pad. So these do suck up the dye pretty well, but I have had this re-inker since I got this, probably, and it still is at least 3/4 full. So it's always a good idea to buy the re-inker when you buy the stamp, because in case for some reason it gets discontinued, you will have something. So I'm just going to do this twice. Ooh, that's pretty light, but that's okay. And I should realize I probably should have stamped it crossways, because I said I was going to put it crossways. So let me flip that over and do it again. And you could always, if you wanted this a little darker, you could do the same thing. You could go with crushed curry instead of So Saffron. It would give you a much darker image. So that's just something to keep in mind as well. And I'm going to just pull this back out. I'm going to do crushed curry for the sponging. I'm just going to use the cleanest side of this dirty sponge and just do this with crushed curry. So you see it'll give a much darker ink if you would go with a slightly darker shade of yellow. So that's always an option. All right, so we'll see. So I'm not exactly sure how I'm going to do this yet. And actually, I might do one other thing, because I think this is just a little bit wide for what I wanted. So I'm going to rip it. So, and then I'm going to sponge. Hopefully that's the yellow. Yeah. Sponge the edge. And I'll do the edge of this too. So what I might do is kind of break this apart into 2 pieces. That might kind of look neat. Break it apart into 2 pieces, and then we'll put a sentiment in the middle. So there's something totally off the rails. Never would have thought of that. How about just a really simple, to have a beautiful day. And I'm going to do this just to bring in the navy. I'm going to do this in navy on just a very small piece of Whisper White that I can cut out with my stitched. I don't know what I'm going to go with yet. If I want to go with the square. Where are they? I moved them over here. Hold on one sec. What I should have showed you is I should have panned down to the floor, because you guys probably would have fallen over. Be like, wow, that's a lot, Rach. Because the floor is kind of like an episode of Hoarders here. You have to step over stuff so you don't fall. Let's see. Let's see what a small square would look like. I don't use the square all that often. Just for the heck of it, I'm going to do the square, because I don't use the squares as much. I think I definitely use the ovals and the circles a lot. So we're just going to do the square. Let me grab my navy ink. Just for something different. Now, I've not used this before, so I'm going to stamp this and stamp off. That side's got a little smudge. It looks like this has a lot of something on it. Must have been embossed on this. All right, so I'm going to pop this through the Big Shot. I'm going to attempt to line it up ahead of time, because the way I stamped this was kind of wonky, so I'm just going to put it down with a piece of washi, just to make sure I have it in place. There we go. Let me cut this out. The floor is horrible. Okay, so I don't feel bad. Thank you. I don't even have that small of a space, because quite honestly, I think I am very, very lucky. I have a, I guess our bedrooms in our house, I guess it depends on the size of your house and how old your house is. Our bedrooms are like 10 by 10. So I do have a 10 by 10 craft room. It's not that it's small. It's just that I have so much stuff. It's just truly not funny. But, you know, I might need it. I might need that so much stuff. So there's going to be our little, I can get to come out, square. Oh, fudge. There we go. That looks cute. So it'll be kind of simple. And let me put this over here so I can save it. I feel like I'm going to just sponge this just very lightly with the Coastal Cabana, just for a little bit of depth. Oh, plus it's also getting all the little white scrappies off, so doing double duty there. All right, so since this is kind of curly, the whole thing isn't going to stick, so kind of keep that in mind. So I'm going to use the liquid glue. And flip that over. Just pop that on, kind of centered the way I want. And I do want the edges to curl up, so I'm not trying to glue the edges down, but I want the ends to be down. So you can kind of do this with your finger if you want. You could always even like put your bone folder in there and curl it up. But I think it'll look nice that way. And we're going to put this one straight across on both sides. I'm not going to bring too much space since the sentiment's kind of small. I'm going to do the same thing again though. This one I am going to attempt to press down as much as possible. I don't really necessarily want it to be completely flat, but I'm trying to go for flatter. Oops. All right, so kind of keep this down to the lower half-ish of the card. And I'm just going to hold that just for a sec, and then I'm going to pop the sentiment up on dimensionals. Oop, I feel like that's just a little crooked. There we go. Guess it doesn't matter with the tear in the center there. Okay, so I have just a little bit of this left, so I'll just snip this up and use it. Probably don't need quite this much, so I'll save that little piece for the next thing. And I'm going to sit this here, but I want to just see, just in case. I'm just sitting this here lightly because I want to see if there's anything else I feel like I could bring into this without making it too much. Let's see. This is still It's so funny because a lot of these, I'm always nervous now that I'm using stuff that's retired because I did not that long ago in a video. So let me see if this ribbon, I'm fairly certain this is the Magnolia. No, okay, we're good. This is the Magnolia ribbon. It comes with this and it comes with Old Olive. So I just want to see what this would look like if I put a little piece. It doesn't even have to be a full piece. I feel like it might cover it up a little too much though. Yeah. I'm just going to leave this one as is. All right, so there's that. So very small sentiment. Honestly, again, when I'm making these cards, just for you all to remember in case you're like, oh, I can't make cards like Rachel because this only took a lot of time because I had no idea what I was going to do. So remember that. You also do want to make sure that you add a white panel to the inside. That way you have something nice. So let's just grab a panel. Let me see if I have something cut here already. So I'm going to stamp this. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the leaves. Where did I get thank you? I'm like, all I could see was that. Have a beautiful day is what I thought I was going to stamp. But I said thank you. Oh, Lord. What are you going to do? So I'm going to grab the leaves. And I'm going to do the Night of Navy. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to ink this up. And then I'm going to stamp it off. Before, looks like my Night of Navy needs to be re-inked too. Okay, so I'm going to stamp this off first. And then put that there. That's just a little something. Didn't have to be anything major. Let me close this up. And then you could always add Have a Beautiful Day on the inside if you wanted to, which would be really nice. There it is. No wonder I can't find anything. Or you could even add just this little flourish just across there and then write your little note. But I'll put Have a Beautiful Day because I thought I was using that for the inside. And I'll put it in the curry. Even though I know we started out with saffron, but we'll just do it this way. Okay, actually I managed to stamp that straight too. I'm proud of myself. All right, so then put this on the inside. So, pretty simple. Again, you have your little leaves there just coming out of the side. You could do another one at the bottom if you like to make things symmetric. But that's a pretty good card with not a whole lot of planning. So, very good. That's one simple one. And then we'll do one more. Let me turn this over so I don't get any ink on that. So there's that one. So the next one I said I was going to do with the yellow as the background. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to clean off, where's my, got my chamois here, but I will tell you one other thing. I know I've said this before and you guys might be tired of me saying it, but I'm going to say it anyway. That stamp cleaner is amazing. So where is it? I think it's hidden in here under my desk. This will make, if you have stamps, even if you have old rubber stamps that are really goopy or they're just not stamping well, this, I don't know what is in this. It's some sort of magical dust, but it really, really cleans things super duper well. So if you ever have a stamp that's not really working the way you think it would, grab this stamp cleaning pad. I still have not had to re-ink it, and I have used it a lot. So that's one thing. And it doesn't look good. It kind of looks disgusting. It doesn't stay white for very long, but it still works really, really well. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to stamp, and I'm going to stick with the crushed curry because I want it to be a little bit darker. So I'm going to stamp the leaves. Pull this off now that I cleaned it. I'm going to stamp the leaves in crushed curry. Kind of, not super all over the background, but a little bit. Another thing you can try too, if you can't get your stamp to ink exactly the way you think it should, is you can always stamp it in Versamark first and then in the ink, because the Versamark is a sticky ink. So it kind of makes the ink stick a little bit better to the stamp than you expect. So if you ever have an issue with your ink and it's just not inking the way you want, you can either stamp it with the Versamark and then clean it off, or you can stamp with the Versamark and then dip in your ink. It doesn't affect your ink. So there is going to be that one. This one I think I'm going to do is I'm going to do maybe a Coastal Cabana circle and then some other, a smaller circle for the sentiment inside that. So let me just wipe this off, because I feel like if I leave it out, I'm going to make a mess. Hello, everybody. Starting with Michigan colors. Woohoo! So if you're joining me late, we made just one really simple card. We used the chicken wire, all wired up is what it's actually called. We used the all wired up background stamp. And then we're using the Very Versailles stamp set. So let me see what I said I was going to do. I was going to cut out, I'm going to stamp this and see what it looks like, and then I'm going to cut it out. So I might actually end up doing an oval for this. So we'll see, because it might end up needing to be a little bit bigger than I think. So this one might be a test run. We might have to do this more than once. We'll see, depending what it looks like. So this one actually has a little middle piece that pops out. All right, so I'm going to stamp that. And let's see. Let me see what matches here. Too small. Might not have put this over far enough. That might be fine. Let's see what that looks like. So I'm going to cut this out. And where is that piece of washi? Here it is that I had. So I'm going to cut this out to kind of line up. I want to make sure that this isn't outside the line. Nope, that should be fine. So my pads are very, 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 very loved. So I'm having a hard time with getting the magnetic part. I need to just order some new pads from somewhere. I think Joann's and Michael's and whatnot still carry the acrylic pads. So I'm going to get a new set of pads, and then hopefully my magnetic thing will stick a little better. But it's just more of a problem with if you want your magnet to work super duper well. I'm going to pull that off. So now if I do this, let's see. So this is very minimal for me, which I'm kind of feeling like a little itchy that I didn't put enough on there. Now I'm going to add a sentiment on here. And I wonder if I do a little tiny, that's still going to cover too much of that up. So I might have to get out my regular circles. So I ended up using the second largest stitched oval to cut that out. For the other one, I used the smallest square, just in case you were wondering. So I'm going to grab my layering circles. And let's see how small will fit in there. So it's still going to kind of cover it up a little bit, but I think that'll be good. And I don't want to go with scallops because I think it'll compete with the stitching. So I'm just going to go with a small circle. And I'm going to grab, I have my Whisper White here. So I think for the first one I said, I wanted to use Have a Beautiful Day. So I'm going to see. Hopefully that'll fit inside here. Just barely, but it's going to work. So I'm going to do this again in navy. Okay, so I'm just stamping this in navy. And then, and if you're ever worried about, I think I said this last week too, if you're ever worried about whether it's going to actually fit inside of it, flip it upside down and just have a peek. And you can see it is going to be tight, but it's going to fit in there. So I'm just going to line this up kind of right on the edge there. And I'm just using that same piece of washi tape I've now used, I think, 3 or 4 times to hold it still. Move this over here. Let me cut this real quick. And you could also use a punch for this too. So if you don't have a big shot or you don't feel like dragging your big shot out, that was one of the greatest parts for me when we had all those punches, because they all were so simple to use. Punches are just, I know they're bulky, and they are really, honestly, they are a huge pain to store because they're so bulky. But I think they work out so much nicer, and I'm going to pop that up. I think they work out so much nicer for just being able to like make something work real quick if you don't exactly know what you want to do with it. So let's see. I think I'm going to do one more thing, and I'm going to end up sponging this. But I'm not going to use the dark ink because I'm afraid it's going to be too dark. I'm going to sponge it in light So Saffron. So going the total opposite direction. I'm trying to find another clean spot on the sponge. And just sponge it lightly. So I thank you all for joining me today. If you're new, welcome. Yes, I am always this crazy, but I don't usually sound sick. So I don't know. I think I'm getting a second cold. So I'm actually going to the doctor today to make sure. I don't know. I'm feeling like I was getting well, and then I went and got the flu shot, and the flu shot does not make you sick, though. I just feel like I have asthma, and it tends to really take a toll on me. Whenever I get anything, it just lingers forever, it feels like. All right, so that was So Saffron I went back to, but we actually stamped this in Crushed Curry, just FYI. So I'm going to take my card base. So you have Night of Navy card base. And I'm going to just put some, I'll just use this since it's flat. Put some adhesive on this. So anyway, if you're new, welcome. Thanks for stopping in. Always happy to have new people. If you don't have a demonstrator, I would love to send you a catalog. I do have some, I'm going to do all my mailing tomorrow. So that's what I was saying earlier, in case somebody was like, I didn't get my Tipsy. I'm going to mail them all out tomorrow. And then I'm going to pop this up. Oh, where's that other little piece of dimensional I had left? There we go. I have a blog that you're welcome to follow, rachthestamper.com. You can also find me on YouTube. Pop that up there. Probably should have used a little bit more than one dimensional on that, but that's okay. I think I'm going to put this one up on one as well. Now, one other thing for this, before I glued that, put that yellow down, I probably could have on this one added a little bit of that. So just in case you wanted to do it, you could have added maybe a little bit of this thread. This was the Magnolia. Would be really pretty on there. Just kind of bring in a little bit of another texture. Another one that I really, really love, and I think I was using it like super frequently, but I've kind of stopped, is the burlap. I just love the burlap. Looks really nice. It kind of gives just such a different feel to a card, especially if you're wanting to make this into like maybe a fall card, fall themed card. So you could wrap this around the back. Now, another thing that we do, which is kind of a saver of ribbon, if you want to use it, but you're afraid you're going to use it all up, is you could trim a little piece, put it behind there, just like that, and then just trim another little piece and put it here. I've done that before. And I just wish I would have stuck this down ahead of time, because I think it would have been nicer underneath of there, but I don't think it's going to happen. I don't want to pull it apart. So what I'll do is, I'm going to just try and jam a piece of it underneath of there. So I'm going to trim this off because I'm crazy like that. I'm just going to put hopefully an attempted straight line piece across here with my snail. So if you're doing this, put this down before you adhere your yellow piece. So let me see. I'm going to trim this down just a little more. And I'm going to see if I can manage to tuck this in without ripping it. Oh, that kind of worked out pretty well on that one side anyway. And almost here. All right, so it would look a little bit nicer if you attached this ahead of time. So just keep that in mind. Let me grab actually probably like 4 more dimensionals. Put them on the back of here. And I'm going to leave the center part open there since we'll have that little ribbon behind it. And pop this up. So definitely an unusual color combination. I thought I would not be making today. I figured we were going to make something fall or Christmassy, but I'm happy to make anything that you guys like. So again, this one is the Magnolia combo pack. So it comes with the crumb cake I guess it's like a linen. And then the Mossy Meadow linen thread. And then this is like a linen ribbon. Don't mind me. Today, words and I aren't getting along very well, I guess. But you could always use burlap as well, which is another nice twist. We even have the white flax ribbon, which honestly would probably look pretty nice as well. So I'm going to do one more thing. Since I did the other one, I am going to finish the inside of this. Let me see if I have a piece of cardstock that's already cut. That's almost cut. Let me trim this down a little bit. So I'm going to trim this down to 4. I think it's already, oh, just 4. 4 by 5 1/4. It just looks slightly off. I'm just going to take off a hair just to make myself feel better. It says it was 4 by 5 1/4, so my eyes are deceiving me. And then on the inside of this one, we don't need these any longer. You could always put like another piece of paper on the inside if you wanted to. You could put a little strip, like we trimmed this off. This is another great use for little strips of DSP. You could just put a little strip on the bottom. So I'm just going to put that right here. I'm going to put a little tiny, and I'll just trim it off. I probably should do this before or after I stamp my sentiment, I should say, but that's okay. So I'm just going to line this at the bottom. This is just a teeny strip that we had left over from cutting our cardstock. Make sure it lines up at the bottom. Great way to use, though, your DSP. If you have little pieces left over and you don't know what to do with them, but you're like, oh, again, Rachel, I don't want to throw it away because I won't have that. So use it to decorate the inside. And then let's see, we have a beautiful day. I'm just going to do Always Thinking of You on the inside of this one. And I think I'm going to stamp this little flourish thing as well because I haven't used that yet. So that will fit here. Got Always Thinking of You. I'm going to stamp this little guy in Coastal Cabana, but I'm going to stamp it off first just so it's a little bit lighter. Hopefully that's straight-ish. Doesn't look too straight, quite honestly, but that's okay. And then I'm going to do the Always Thinking of You again in navy. So ink this up, test it since it's the first time. I'm just going to stamp this kind of right on top. Oh, that turned out pretty cute. Actually, to my own surprise. So I'm going to just take this, flip it over, trim this little end. Same with this one. So then you have just a little, I mean, it's just a tiny scrap of paper. And it really makes the inside look completely different. Also, by the way, Coastal Cabana and Night of Navy are just a beautiful color combination all in themselves. And just pop that in there. Nice, simple, beautiful card. Look at that. So pretty. I like the inside of that actually even better. The navy and the Coastal Cabana and the white. So sometimes you don't even need that third color. Just have those first two and run with it. So thank you all so very much for joining me today. I know we're a little bit early ending, but sometimes I even surprise myself. I'm glad I unpacked my paper today because that ended up giving me the inspiration to create these cards, because sometimes I have a hard time coming up with exactly what I need to make. I know I did have someone ask me about making military cards, so that is on my radar. I am thinking of that. I just have to think of some ideas. So maybe I'll try and get something like that done on, probably not tomorrow, but probably Friday. I don't know if it'll be here on YouTube, but I'm thinking I'm going to try to do it. I wish I could try to do them both at the same time. That would be something. But I will try to do that by Friday. That way you'll have time if you want to make some cards to send them out or hand them out for Veterans Day, which is on Monday. So thank you all so much for stopping in and also for helping me make a decision on what we created today. If you'd like to get any of these products and more, you can go to my online store 24/7. It's rachthestamper.stampinup.net. You can find all of the instructions and pictures of these later will be on my blog, which is rachthestamper.com. If you're watching this after the fact on YouTube, this will be a replay video, but I always put all the supplies and the link to my blog when I post everything on my YouTube page as well. So it will automatically reload to Facebook. So if you missed anything, all you have to do is wait for it, probably about 5 or 7 minutes tops, and you should be able to watch the replay there and get some good ideas. But bunch of cute cards. So really simple. And even like that. So these, just this color. So we have white, Coastal Cabana, and navy, or white, navy, and this was, I believe, in crushed curry. I don't know if I did crushed curry for the inside or so saffron. But beautiful. Even on the inside, both of these cards are very, very beautiful and really quite simple. So thank you guys for joining. I will see you again really soon. If you haven't already, I would truly appreciate, leave a comment. Always do some random stuff. I'll be sending out my prizes from last week on tomorrow. If you would like to have a catalog and you don't have a demonstrator, feel free to send me an email and I will mail you one out. I just ordered a new box of catalogs, so I do have to wait for them to come in, unfortunately, because I realized I actually gave all of them away, which is a miracle for me. So that was pretty fantastic. So thank you guys very much for watching. Have a wonderful day, and I'll talk to you again real soon.